Perfect time to welcome you into the Situation Room as we continue to build the narrative about public service and accountability.
Mr. President, this Senate needs to know. Mr. President, this Senate needs to lend its voice to the plight of these people. Mr. President, there is nowhere it can say it except here. This is where
to make their political decisions, constant demand for quality leadership from those they voted into office.
Look at us now, there is nothing, we are starving. Tinubu should please do something.
It's also important to having a Nigeria of everyone's dream. Join Tᴏɪᴛᴛᴇʀ as it takes to task seasoned analysts, opinion makers, business professionals, and politicians on issues around politics, policies, governance, and leadership every Monday to Friday from 4 to 5:30 p.m. on your super dial mainland 98.3 FM. We'll welcome you roommates as we discuss the situations.
What makes me different from you? What truly separates us? When we look beyond names, languages, and tribes, we'll see that we are all humans. We are all Nigerians. It's painful that tribalism continues to divide us, blinding us to the strength we share when we stand as one. We must understand that the true essence of being Nigerian isn't found in your tribe, but in your strength, in your heart, your resilience, and your ability to stand tall side by side with your brother and sister, no matter where they come from. Whether you are Tiv, Kanuri, Egba, Ibibio, Esan, Ijo, Urobo, Igbo, Fulani, Yoruba, or from any of our beautiful ethnic groups, always remember that we are stronger together. Let's drop the bias, silence, and hate and lift each other up. Let unity reign. Let love lead. Let Nigeria rise. Say no to tribalism.
Keep us together, keep us together.
Between October 2024 and January 2025, more than 265 lives have been lost to fuel tanker explosions in Nigeria. Guess what? Twice of that number have perished in the last 2 years. In more than half a decade, tragedy had feasted on many human bodies in many Nigerian states in their countless attempts to scoop fuel from overturned tankers. Ask yourself, is it worth the risk? The answer is a resounding no. Scooping fuel from an overturned petrol tanker is not just risky, it is downright suicidal. Petrol, diesel, kerosene, and gas are highly flammable once spark and disaster strikes. Ignorance or hardship cannot justify putting your own life on the line to stay alive. Whenever you see an overturned tanker or people attempting to scoop fuel, flee immediately or alert the relevant authorities to secure the area and prevent a potential explosion. It is better to stay alive for your loved ones who depend on you than any way being otherwise. Remember, fuel scooping is deadly. Don't take the risk. Stay alive, be alive, and live well.
This message is from Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos.
Nigerians don't often pay attention to the issues, which is why governance is so poor in our country. We get into this emotive politics, which we call people names, and we're constantly talking politics. And that's why I say anybody who tries to discuss 2027 with me will get a full stop, because I don't want to be discussing 2027 when people are dying of hunger in the country. I don't want to be discussing 2027, which is so far away, when every hour 9 Nigerians die of malaria. But because we have not been playing the politics of service to the people, that there's a problem with the quality of governance in our country. We focus on the two most important needs for progress are education and healthcare. The so-called social sectors drive the possibilities of sustained development.
A very good evening to you. Welcome to the Situation Room live on Mainland 98.3 FM. I decided to start with a sound bite from our session with Professor Tᴜɪ̀ᴜ yesterday on the show. From about 4:10 to 4:55. He was live with us on the show, talking about where we are as a nation and some of the challenges that we have faced and why we're still where we are, despite the level of resources that the country has been. And I said, why is it difficult for us to apply some of the answers that seems to be very much on our faces as a nation to solve our problems? Because in the last maybe 30 years or thereabout, I'm not sure we've had any new problem. Some time ago, I was watching one of the campaign videos of the late Moshood Kasima Olawale Abiola in 1992, and in those videos, I was talking about unbundling the complications in the NNPC. He talked about the role in the CBN. He talked about infrastructures, public infrastructures, and I'm very sure that if President Bola Ahmed Tinubu decides to run for a second term in 2027, he's also going to talk about fixing public infrastructure. So about 35 years down the line, we're still facing the same problem. And I asked Professor Tᴜɪ̀ᴜ yesterday, and I very clearly asked him that, Prof, why is it that all of the answers you seem to know that can bring us to some logical solutions to some of our problems, why are they not applicable? And he said, until we love Nigeria as a people, we're not going to make any progress. And that's that. I told him that answer sounds basic. It looks like, okay, I mean, I love Nigeria. When the national anthem is up, I always sing the national anthem. I always buy, Nigerian goods. I always pay my tax. But it goes beyond that. When you talk about patriotism, what does it mean to you as an individual? And what does it mean to you when it talks about respecting other people's religions or respecting other people's political differences? Those were the issues that discussed much to everyone I joined. And yesterday I also announced that we're going to be looking at the coalition, the ADC, trying to clear the air on the issues of being an SPV, the conspiracies of the Lagos State chapter of the African Democratic Congress. Well, that seems to be the biggest bride in the Nigerian political space to speak. Because about a month ago, there was an announcement of the change of guard in the leadership of the ADC. Now we have the former president of the Nigerian Senate, distinguished Senator, David Mark, the national chairman of the party, the former commissioner for works in Lagos, the former, governor of Osun State, and the former minister of interior, talking about Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola being the national public secretary of the party. There was also Abolaji Abdullahi that would also be joining us on Thursday on the show as the national publicity secretary of the ADC. So, but there's been a lot of issues around it. A few weeks back, Dumebika Chukwu, the presidential candidate of the party, joined me on the show as well to talk about the fact that no, forget all of those announcements. The leadership of the party have not ratified their appointments. So there's been a lot around the leadership of the party, the structure of the party, the individuals that are championing the coalition. And I'm very sure that Honorable George Ashu will help us break down all of these misconceptions. Join us on the show. And thank you so much for squeezing time out of your schedule to join us live on this show.
Good afternoon to you and to your listeners. It's my pleasure to be live on air with you today.
Of course, it's my pleasure to have you join us as well, and I'm very sure that millions of people listening to us or watching us on our social media platforms where we're streaming live, facebook.com/Mainland 98.3 FM, on YouTube Mainland FM, or you can also join us on Radio Garden. Every one of us And every one of those people are also, excited to have you join us. So let's get straight up into the conversation. The last few months, Honorable Ashiru, has, been a different conversation for you. I can assume that the level of engagement you've had, maybe even the calls that you have received, and the number of messages you've received in the last few months, had been on a whole new level. We can't deny the fact that at that level, the ADC had not exactly been at the front burner of the discourse when it comes to, the numbers. You look at the performance in the last election in Lagos State as well. A big shout out to, Mr. Funsho Doherty. He's probably one of the faces that have, made the ADC. He's also joined me on the show at different times. Honorable Ashiru, talk to us about the difference you've had in your party in the last 6 months, in the last 3 months, and today.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you for the introduction as well into the issues at hand. The fact of the matter is that ADC has existed for 19 years. ADC has never attempted to position itself as a mainstream party looking for power at all costs, ready to do whatever it is to win elections and to run this country in the manner in which we have seen it being run. But ADC has still, despite that, been sufficiently attractive enough for the likes of Patutomi and other people to come in to try the mettle with our tickets. And I think one of the key things about ADC is that we have strong internal democracy, and we also have good structures in terms of the way our internal processes. But this is exactly the value that all of these partners saw in ADC, that they decided to pick ADC. They said, this is a party that has not been mired in past corruption. This is a party that has not been involved in past malfeasance and mismanagement of our economy. This is a party that has been able to maintain itself despite not being in power. Several seats in the National Assembly, across different areas of the country, especially in the Southwest, in the past few election cycles. So really, the most important thing for everyone to know is that we represent what is a transformational nature of governance. We want to present to the public a different, or what we call a credible alternative to the way and manner in which we are governed. That's what has attracted everybody to us. So just as you have said, yes, I've got lots of calls, lots of meetings, even right before this interview, some people just able to talk to you. So that naturally has changed, but that doesn't change who we are. That hasn't changed who we are in terms of our ideology, our philosophy. We are very welcome. We are welcoming to everyone who's our overall vision and mission as a party. And we really, really, truly believe that this is the way to go forward. In any nation, for that matter, there must be a party that welcomes everybody, allows everybody to serve on an equal basis, not owned by an individual, not governed or controlled by just a small clique, almost like a cult. That is not what ADC stands for. So I'm very glad that you're giving us an opportunity to
level of consistency, especially when you know how political parties often operate in Nigeria. Most times it's just, get up on the numbers and make yourself available for people that are probably disgruntled as a fallout of other primaries of other political parties, and then make yourself available. So, it's a whole lot that after 19 years, the party had eventually got into the front burner, being the platform at which the coalition had decided to challenge, and the African Democratic Congress as a party has changed. A lot of people have continued to associate itself with the party. We've also seen leadership of major politicians much later on Ashiru. But let's talk about what the ADC stands for. I've always been very careful when I bring up issues of ideologies when I mention political parties in Nigeria. And this is the reason. Yep. I've seen people that can literally take breakfast in the PDP, enjoy a sumptuous lunch in the APC, and have a good dinner in the Labour Party the same day, switching political parties. So the issue of ideology, it sounds, alien to me when I talk about Nigerian politics. But let's talk about what the ADC stands for. It looks like everyone is embracing the coalition right now. Actually, his running mates, Princess Islamia Tadefusi was also with me on Friday, and she also said she's 100% in support of the coalition and the ADC as well. What does your party stand for? And beyond it being a platform or the coalition, what do you think makes it different?
And has attracted all of this political gladiators. I'll tell you, for example, in Lagos State, we have a unique set of goals or mission that we have established for ourselves. Change. Let us set what we call KPIs for Lagos. What are the KPIs? Our indices for development must be one of the top 25 in the world. Right now, Nigeria is 150, 160 in terms of HDI. One of the things we're looking for is by virtue of the fact that we have a tax card. These are some things that are specific KPIs, things we want to actually implement and do. We don't see any reason why civil servants should be earning national minimum wage when Lagos State income, Lagos State overall revenues in terms of government revenues that they're getting, and the economy, the size or way, so to speak, I'm using the word in terms of metrics. You cannot pay negotiators the same amount you are paying people in other states when the cost of living in Lagos is double or triple. It's much higher. So you have to there's a certain expectation that is what I'm going to earn. But the moment that same work is taken by the same company, takes you to London, they put a percentage on it, taking into consideration, the nature. So we don't see why we should be in Lagos, and the civil servants are not earning enough, extremely expensive. So we're looking at a global Lagos that does not discriminate against people by virtue of where they come from. We don't see of this discrimination in Paris. We don't hear of this discrimination we don't hear discrimination in expect that everyone should feel welcome. But the last elections have shown us that there are some people who believe that Lagos should be divided and built Lagos. It is the resources of Nigeria from 100 years ago that built Lagos. It is the people from all over Nigeria that came to invest in Lagos that built Lagos. But when it comes to politics, all of a sudden, we are not Lagosians, or they are not Lagosians, or they don't have a right in Lagos. These are the kind of anomalies that ADC wants to correct. And this is the message that is attracting our leadership, and our structure is more mixed. You are going to find people from the north, from the east, from the west, from the south in our leadership, because we are interested in making sure everybody feels at home. These are some of the critical things that make of the vision we have, and that is what people are hearing when they come to ADC. One of the things I've heard of recent from people from other parties that have come to suspend people who are not following the party line. So the idea of somebody having lunch with ADC and then dinner with another party that is the opposite side of the spectrum, immediately the party here, they have shown us that they are not, they are actually not doing what they were accused of doing. And these are some of the ways and manners in which we want to rule Nigeria to do what they like with it. We want to bring that kind of orderliness into the way we govern Nigeria. So that is just a snapshot of some of the things that we believe in our party that we actually practice in the party itself. As the testimony of those who have met us is going to make a presentation to all of the various groups who are coming, they will hear this same message. I state openly, equity. I say transparency. We're not here for sharing money. We are here to change, not about them and power and taking control of our commonwealth and resources, and then sprinkling it down in the name of palliative, so that people will be feeling happy that they're taking out of your money and giving you a little bit back. And you are happy Nigeria project for which our parents, our foreparents, our great-great-grandparents built this country for.
I will talk about, I think about a few weeks ago, I saw you in audience with about your party and yourself. We'll come talk about that much later. But let's talk about the coalition. Like I said, it's been a wave of which they would challenge the APC in 2027 election. And the conversation has changed since then. I've looked at some of the, ADC groups on social media platforms. The numbers had really shot up. The conversation had been engaging enough. How did you feel? I'm sure you were part of the conversation, maybe from the onset or at some point. But what was the process like that led to the 2027 election? What was the entire process like?
Proactivity. Pro-ADC, by virtue of its motto, is already telling Nigerians that we believe in the motto of Nigeria, unity and progress. How can you be unified if you don't extend the hand of handshake? Now, if you go back to 2027, ADC in itself was already in coalition with another group called the CNN, and in the very last election, ADC endorsed the presidential candidate of one of the candidates of other parties, as a result of the internal issues with the then presidential candidate of our own party, as a way of showing, again, a handshake to whichever person or a candidate that Nigerians seem to be yearning out for. And today, what you are seeing is the evidence that over the years, ADC has been reaching out to various organizations, various individuals, CSOs, and NGOs to say, look, the structure, not just a movement that does not have a proper structure. Therefore, it is malleable and it can be overtaken. And what we have seen today is that message that has been carried on over the month. I personally have been invited to attend meetings as far back as 19, 20 months ago. To some of the people you have seen in the party today, to invite them to ADC. Please, sir, come and join us. Help us to build a better Nigeria. And this is what has been going on. What we call coalition convergences, which means we invited different parties, different leaders, join us to talk about coalition. That was a whole month before the coalition announcement was made. In Lagos, we had for a change, let's put Nigeria first. Not just our party. How about just bringing our resources together to save this country? Now, let me put something in perspective here. A lot of people mistakenly think the ADC coalition is simply about removing the particular party in power. No, it's about bringing the best of Nigeria together under one umbrella that everybody understands and accepts, and every language is understood, every form of governance all over this country, every religion, every tribe is accepted. All of us have equal fingers, equal rights, equal capacities and equal capabilities. Then we truly represent what Nigeria looks like. The outlook for this party is Nigeria. It is not a Southwest party. It's not a North. And I think that is the attraction that is making a lot of Nigerians feel, I can feel I belong when I join these people. I can see myself as being part of it. So they will say, oh, it's a party for Lagos people alone. Oh, it's a party for people from Adamawa alone. It's a party for people from Anambra alone. No. It's a party for everybody from Anambra, and everybody from Adamawa, and everybody from Lagos, and everybody from Osun, and from Ekiti, and from wherever, all joining hands to save Nigeria. It is not an easy journey. Truly represents every shade, every tone.
Very much. If you're just joining us, I've been speaking with Honorable George Ashiru, the APC, taking us through the journey. And one of the things that has stood your party, the ADC, and kept it alive for 19 years, and also strategically positioning. But let's also talk about some of the leadership issues that are, being in context with your party in the last few years. There's been issue of the chairman of the party, the tenure, extension, the interim leadership of the party. Like I said in my monologue, there was about a month ago, I had Mr. Dumebi Kachiku join us. I'm sure you does not know David Mark as the national chairman of the party. He does not know Rauf Aregbesola as the national secretary of the party. He does not know Bolaji Abdullahi as the publicity secretary of the party. That the party, as you speak, does not have a national ESCO. So whoever handed over the leadership will also come out to say that being the Northeast vice chairman of the party automatically becomes the chairman of the party. What do you make of all of these internal wranglings within the ADC? And do you think it could affect your party ahead of the next election?
So in my opinion, these are valid arguments by individuals within the party. We're having a party doesn't mean that we muzzle the voice of others. How many people within APC do you see going out to speak against their own chairman or against the president? We don't do that in ADC. We allow people to speak. We allow people to have their franchise. But the law of the party is that it is the National Executive Committee of the party that has a final say on party matters. And that includes the top executives of the party. And ONEC has met 4 consecutive times from last year to early this year to ratify the idea of a coalition. So even if a monkey was our chairman, he only had 1 vote. Even if a chicken was our vice chairperson, and what matters is if the House wants to do something, then the House passes it during a next meeting and it becomes the law. Now, whether 1, 2, 3, 4 people will not be happy, we do not discuss it. Maybe he's a good friend of mine. I completely respect him. I've said it is a patriot. He believes in Nigeria. But the constitution of the party is what we follow. And the constitution of the party is that if an idea is brought to the party and is brought forth during a next meeting, and the majority of people vote in that neck, even if the National Working Committee says no, but the 36 state chairmen say yes, and there are more people as state chairman than National Working Committee, it becomes the position of the party. So, and INEC understands it. That's why INEC attends, takes note, and immediately implements that. Like somebody getting up to declare himself this thing. The question you have to ask is which NEC appointed him? Because it's only a NEC that can appoint you. You cannot, as an individual, declare yourself as the leader of the party. If you look at even the process of this adoption of the gentleman you have mentioned, there was an announcement that they are going to become the new leaders of the party. But it was not effected until the next meeting was had last week, where they were of the time, the executives of the party continued to do their work. It doesn't matter how the media reported the matter. The fact is, this is the methodology that the constitution of the party recognizes, and it was followed to the letter. And that is why you see that INEC has uploaded the names and the of these individuals now in its portal, because they were there as witness that it followed the due process. Now, if anybody else also has follows the due process and they want to make a pronouncement, then they have to give us the evidence. Who and who were there? Who and who signed it? Is it the majority? Were they party people? Do they have party ID cards? So until those principles are followed, anybody can go out and say what they like. It will be contrary to the wishes of the members of the party that has been expressed through the NEC that has ratified what has happened severally, not even one.
Okay, thank you very much. I think this, sets the conversation way ahead into 2026 and 2027, because one would expect that every of the 18 or 19 political parties that we have in Nigeria, with the conversation of, 2027 is still far. August 2025, and by this, so Honorable George Ashiru, I'm here as a Nigerian. I'm feeling uncomfortable with the quality of leadership that we have, and not just in the political space alone, even in the private sector. Nigeria seems to have issues with, the choice of patriotism as a way of life, and it's a problem. So your party is positioning itself as a platform upon which the coalition wants to ride. But let's look at the leadership of the coalition. Honorable George Ashiru, I've asked a lot of people this question. I also asked Professor Paul to tell me yesterday when he joined us on the show. And the question is this: how do you remove some of the baggages that the people heading the coalition, yes, they come with? Now let me break it down. And he was the leader of the Senate for 8 of those 20 years. I've also seen the former governor of Rivers State, the former speaker of the Rivers House of Assembly, Right Honorable Rotimi Amaechi. He was in charge of Rivers State for 16 years before he became the Minister of Transport on the platform of the PDP for 16 years, Minister of Transport on the platform of the APC for 7 years and a few months. Now he's in the ADC, the National Secretary of State under the platform of the APC, and he also served as the Minister for Interior under the last administration. The National Public Secretary of your party, Bolaji Abdullahi, was at some point also a Minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. All of these people at different times also held political offices in this country. So when they say we want to rescue Nigeria, from who exactly do they want to rescue the country from?
Quite interesting. So now there's a key and a very important thing that everybody needs to know, not more than that. And people who have rushed online, our website has crashed several times from individuals joining the party. We has not shown itself to be capable of providing the kind of governance that will help Nigerians. And ADC has positioned itself as a party that can do that. Now, everyone is going to want to come to such a platform. And it's not in our place to stop Nigerians from wanting to be part of what we stand for. It is not in our place to say, you can't come in, you should come in, because the Constitution says any Nigerian who has not violated the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, who is not a criminal convicted by law in a court of law, has a right to be a member of the party. So if there is anybody joins the party who has not been convicted of anything in law, they have the right to join and be part of the party. They only have one vote, because we'll decide whether or not it's a referendum on them. These Nigerians will decide whether or not they want to give them a second chance because they think they have changed, or they think they did well, regardless of how the rest of us might feel. They might say, no, in our opinion, they did well, and we want them to continue. So this is the issue that we have to have. We either have a party where everybody, whether you have run the government before or you are planning to run the government in the future, you are going to end up in the wrong mind. They end up achieving nothing, so to speak. And then as for ourselves, we did not know where we were going. We were just interested in getting in there. But now, on the benefit of hindsight, we think we know a better way to do it. Let's bring our experience to bear in this new experiment under the party ADC. Then there are the passionate young people. Then there are the activists. Then there's the average Nigerian, all of them in the same potpourri. I think what it means is that there is no individual now that will bring a particular philosophy of governance that has been rejected in the past and impose it on the party. Because now we have all manner of shades of opinions and thoughts about how to run Nigeria. But there's one thing all of us have in common. What we all have in common is this: Nigeria is not going in the direction we thought it would go. Don't forget, Nigerians came together thinking APC was rescuing Nigeria from PDP.
That was proud of the 2015 election.
Yes, APC government inherited a 500 billion economy. By the time Buhari left, the economy was 300-something billion. Now it is now making people that we were blaming 10 years ago, 11 years ago, it's not making them look like same. So at least when you were there, dollar was 180 to 1. Regardless of how we think about you, at least when you were there, our economy was $580 billion. You know, at least when you were there, so you can see the issue. The problem is there's now a nostalgia amongst the people that the people who are blaming for destroying the country, in actual fact, compared to those who are there now, this is better. You understand? So now, everybody now has a chance to put their best hands on the plow and say, let us make this work. With our experience, both good and bad, bring it on the table. Then with our passion, with our vision, with our ideology, I'm talking of our nationalism, and I will put the pressure on them as a state chairman. What do we stand for now that we are together? How are we going to make it happen? What did you hear? And we are ready to commit to doing it. They will also see us as people who came through the night, in the night, to steal the vision of Nigeria. We are not going to hold ourselves to account for it. And that's why we are putting ourselves out here on the Nigerian economy, is making rich people richer and poor people poorer. And that is not the way. Dangote is richer. We need people to realize, remove some people are the ones who are going to end up suffering. Now, when the economy of the poor people is biting them, they will turn to crime. And when they turn to crime, that brings instability. Now, how are you living under the... If anybody thinks Nigeria doesn't need rescuing, we need to change that narrative.
There's also been a very interesting narrative around. Do you, break it down a little for the people listening to us and those watching us on all our social media? The coalition has adopted, just a few months ago, as grounded for 19 years of its existence, and it had not been delisted. Yes, I think that's the word of your party being a special purpose vehicle.
Thank you very much. Now, the idea of ADC being a special purpose vehicle is a special purpose vehicle for 1 or 2, 3 people to grab power. No. Everybody will bring the change. Who is the Moses? Where are we going? There's a bit of confusion left, right, and center. All we know is that all of us want to be rescued from Pharaoh. All of us want to get away from Nebuchadnezzar. Everybody wants freedom to be able to grow and become something. And the whole of Nigeria decided to hire ADC. Those special purpose vehicles, so be it. But that individuals have hijacked the party for their own ambitions, no. Because if you look at it, the types of people that come to ADC, these are people that come from different political platforms. And all of them were people that who did not contest against Obi in the last election. So which of them is now using ADC as a special purpose vehicle? Is it Obi that's using it, or is it Atiku? The fact is, they've all agreed that the platform they stood with before were platforms that could not deliver either their own desire nor the vision for Nigeria or greater Nigeria. And they have finally come to that conclusion in their mature years that the only way to actually fulfill their visions for Nigeria is by going to an innocent, neutral entity that has been specially prepared for this purpose. And that purpose is a warm handshake to bring unity into this country and a message that we have to make this country equal for all of us. All of us have to have that opportunity. So for Nigeria as a country, for Nigerians as a people, yes, you might say ADC is a special purpose vehicle. It is a special set in which you used to get there. Nigerians want better governance, get to utopia. And that is right. In that context, one of them is guaranteed that they will make that ambition come to pass, except they are working together with Nigeria and Nigerians in that they don't forget Nigerians that they are with us. With Nigerians, they will say, now you are with us. Let us together march onto the promised land. Rather than a excluded portion of Nigerians in an exclusive political Abewa is from South community, North Central. No, I mean, talking of Lagos, so I am getting calls from Obedient. I'm getting calls. I mean, you just said that you had an interview with Daddy, but who has met me? You know, that's but they found a home. And we will make it a beautiful home for Nigeria.
Like they always say, charity, they say, begin from home. So, Honorable Ashiru, I'm on INEC's website now, and the leadership structure of the ADC stand thus. Your address is in Abuja. The legal advisor is Barrister Ujunwa Owasoeze. The national secretary stands as Alhaji Said Baba Abdullahi, and the national chairman stands as Chief Ralph Oke Nwosu on the INEC website. So let me hold it a bit. Going to the APC page, very recently, the national chairman of the party was appointed. That's the governor, the immediate past minister of humanitarian affairs. That has already been rectified and uploaded on the website. Why is the name of webpage as the ESCOs of the ADC?
So the issue for everybody is the issue. And by Tuesday, and INEC was there, by the way, by Tuesday or Wednesday, they would have then transmitted the final list to INEC. But what you would need to know is that the entire National 25 were announced. So the rest would have to be compiled and then forwarded to INEC with the appropriate signature. So trying to make things right, you cannot just tell INEC to put the names of just 4 or 5 people when there are 60 of them. And say, oh, we were there, we saw this fine. Let us quickly put 5, then we update the rest. No. I would assume that INEC, don't forget that, to make way for just changing one person's name and then upload all of the various names of all the people that make up the full National Working Committee with the adjusted constitution of the party. The most complete list of names, and then they will do the right vote. I think the only reason people can come back to this if it does happen within 1 month. I think within 5 days is not sufficient, 3 or 4 days is not sufficient for people to start worrying or panicking. The circumstances are very different from each other.
Okay, thank you very much. I expect that the ADC should, going forward, start wearing a national outlook. I've seen, activities of the ADC in Rivers. I've seen in Benue. I've also seen in Osun states. Of course, you expect that because there are key members of the coalition from those states. But let's talk about, the off-cycle elections that will happen before the January. There will be municipal election in the FCT Abuja. And next year also, there will be governorship elections in Osun and Ekiti. Is your party, I'm also speaking because I know that you're probably well connected to the national. Is your party prepared, or how is your party preparing to, have a decent showing at these elections?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, some of the off-cycle elections, their primaries were concluded before the coalition arrangement was made, and the party will continue to provide the right kind of support for the candidates. Those ones, like the ones from Anambra, competitive. We will have brought out the best, out of all of the various candidacies available. So, having said that, we are in a transition process, and that transition process means as what will happen next year, when we will have been completely and totally settled, and we are going to be able to have proper primaries that are based on the fully realized and composed structured coalition, and we can bring our best together and get the results that we purposely came together to achieve. So I think again, I would say that we cannot judge the success of the coalition on the basis of an ongoing struggle that started before people joined the party fully and bring their resources together. But you can be sure that the results there and say, okay, we will see you just as a small party just struggling to see if we can make a mark. Now say, no, there's no point voting that party. All of fully realized elections for the majority of Nigeria to ensure that we are able to provide this.
Honorable Judge Ashiru, but we always have a tradition here on the show when we have guests that are joining us virtually, because you would also listen to the comments and the calls, and if there are questions, I would have, don't worry, you can go on our social media, you can still join us now. My guest has been Honorable Judge Ashiru, the Lagos State Chairman of the Assumptions or Misconceptions of the ADC being a special purpose vehicle. We've watched a lot of things on the show today, but he would also love to listen to you. So you can call us 0913-600-0410. You're live on Mainland FM, Mainland 30 p.m. We'd always bring in guests from across the world to speak to us. Engineer Nii, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. Honorable Judge will leave the Secretariat, State Secretariat, and address. Let him leave it for everybody to go, people and all that. People want to register, and it will let that people might be mobilized in narrative on Nigerian politics to drama.
10. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
You're welcome.
We have Mr. Desmond on the line.
Mr. Desmond, good to have you.
I'm begging you in the name of God, Chairman, I beg. ADC should give us better candidates, viable candidates. How can I see the office to register as a...
Let's speak more call. We'll also read some of your messages on Facebook. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Hello. Hello, Mr. Peter. Can you hear me? Okay, welcome.
Happy New Week. Yeah, what's up, Monko?
Oh, I'm there.
What I wanted to ask you, yes, somebody have asked you. Nigeria will patiently wait. Who is their candidate? Not being rushed at all. Let all of them have. Do you know one thing I waiting for? Until this say finally, he have joined the coalition. Then we now know the next thing to be different between Ralph and former Kaduna governor Rufai. What Eddie with his name, Jared?
I'm with you.
Eddie with that former Kaduna governor's name.
Malam Nasu Rufai.
The former Osho governor's name. What is our difference? For their 8 days, nothing so proud of it. So let all of them be campaigning, for Nigeria worship. But not only Nigeria should worship, we should pray. The man that will be the INEC, is he ready to go for money or ready to do the will of the Godfather? And the Supreme Court, let us patiently wait.
Thank you for Thank you. Let's talk to other people as well. 0913-600-0410. I know a lot of people want to drop which one very brief. Hello, good evening. Hello. Can you hear me? No.
Good evening.
Okay. Good to have you.
Question of the program. Your guests have spoken plenty. But my question and my worry is that what have been their effort concerning Nigeria Electoral Act that have been what our Nigerian politicians normally take advantage of the loopholes in it to court, even when it's obvious that this is the candidate that actually wins the election. They will manipulate it and tell the man, maybe the person that they have anointed to head the chairmanship of the INEC to announce whatever they like.
Okay, so
that is my work.
INEC, we may have our reservations, but the process of challenging the legitimacy of a result is very clear. You go to the courts, so we just can't keep attacking INEC as an institution and trying to discredit that institution. I think we should just stick with the conversation on the show today.
What I have seen, is it was that how it's supposed to be? That's the question. So I'm still worried. But again, I will also urge them to present candidate that is credible and competent that Nigeria will be interested to.
Just joining us, and I've been speaking with Honorable George Ashiru, the Lagos State AP. Hello?
Okay, good evening.
You're welcome.
Honestly, I missed a lot because I did not follow George Ashiru. But honestly, okay, what I want to say is this. The way our politicians are going now, it's sadness. Because when I look at ADC, let me be very sincere with you. Is it David Mark? Is it Nasir El-Rufai, DC candidate, that we can thump our chest and say this person can deliver? Or is it even the article as Abubakar himself? I have two things or point against him. The first one is that by the time he's contesting, he will be 80-something. And somebody will come and tell me that Joe Biden and Trump, they are 80-something. And the second one is that as of today, the zoning is still in the South. So, and I want those people, big and no win. Both of them, they need each other. So let nobody should come and be telling us as if one is more important than the other. A man who within 6 months was able to garner 6-point-something million votes, how be it contestable, you know, because we knew what happened in Lagos and other places.
Thank you, Pastor.
So for me,
thank you.
Let us not credible person we want.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. 09136000410. Keep the calls coming in. We'll pick just a few more calls. Then we'll read some of the messages that we have.
I'm calling from Abanje.
Okay. Good to have you join us, Mr. Osifo.
Thank you. In 2023, we had the concept of placeholder, you know, coming into our own political lexicon for that very first time. Why I'm saying this is that I want to ask your guest, Mr. Ashiru, a question relating to this placeholder. Now, ADC, that is African Democratic Congress, is the party that all this coalition, that is all other parties, opposition parties, you know, have come as a coalition base, as it were. Now, remember that Rotimi Amechi, one of these membership alliance, ADA, but is yet to be registered by INEC. And INEC has not disputed that because we have about over 100 parties, you know, that have been yet to be registered. So what if ADA is registered? What will happen to ADA? I mean to ADC? Will they all migrate to ADA? So don't you see ADCA? And what will be the, you know, the stance of the original members of ADC? Remember the original members of AD.
With some of the messages that we have on all our switch states, and we start off this conversation at 4 p.m. We're taking it all the way down. We've talked about the adopts. We've talked about all of those things on the show today, but let's also pick some of the calls that we have on. Let's read some of the messages that we have. Well, we're trying to reconnect with Honorable George Ashiru. We disconnect. Thank you very much, Honorable Ashiru. Thank you for being back with us on the show. I would allow you to respond to some of those questions, but let me also take some of the ones that we have on our social for the calls a bit. My guest will respond to all of the calls. So let's go on Facebook. This one says the SSs of the APC and to deter the APC from testing our lives with satanic policies. Okay. Thank you very much. Arakuri fell money. He says the ADC political instability over the years are frequently switching parties, while Nasir El-Rufai seems driven by personal grievances than national interest. Although many Nigerians are dissatisfied with the current administration values and trustworthy leadership, the ADC risk. Okay. But when more messages drop. Okay. Atiku has followers in the north, according to Vico Cool. Obi has followers in the south. The two of them are good combo, else the current parties will win before noon on election day. Again, the youth and the entire citizenry must be carried along for the new faces and the proper change. Right on, Mr. Okoyemi. Thank you very much. Okay. Arakuri Money says, what has David Mark done? Iriti, Those are the questions that Mr. Omani is asking us on Facebook. Patrick Obiazo says, I think that the handshake logo representing the ADC is easier to sell to Nigerians than the broom of the APC that have swept away our other part of your message for obvious reasons. Benjamin is on Facebook says, good evening, Ope. Your guest has spoken really well, but my advice to ADC coalition is they should not make a mistake of picking Atiku as their presidential candidate because the South have not finished their tenure. Obi should be presented, then they are good to go. Benjamin from Shok. Okay. Vikoku says, okay, let's pick more calls, then my guest would respond. Hello, good evening. Hello.
Oh, Opa, how are you today?
I'm very good. Your name or where you calling from?
Yes, my name is your friend, Barrister Peter Oko. I'm calling from. Take on this issue of my belief is that politics of political parties is not going to work in Nigeria. It's not favoring Nigerians. What the coalition will want, the coalition of concerned, credible Nigerians, patriotic Nigerians. That's what we want, and then they are to recover all the stolen funds. That will be their job, and restructure. So until we restructure this country, we cannot move forward.
Thank you, Barrister Peter Oko. Thank you very much. So I need my guest to.
Yes, thank you very much. Okay. I like the passion with which everybody spoke, and I like the fact that everybody spoke their minds, and that's what democracy is all about. The first set of questions focused on membership. People can join online. We expect you to join through your ward, not at the party secretariat. So what we have done is that anyone who goes on Facebook can search ADC who are in charge of bringing them into the party through their wards, which is what the constitution requires. So people can join, just go online, on Twitter, on Facebook, search ADC Lagos State or African Democratic Congress Lagos, and it will take you to our various pages, and you will see joining instructions, including online joining places. Then a lot of people are talking about candidacy. This party does not belong to any one person. So there's nothing like a ready-made candidate. And some references are made to Rufai. All of these people are contest again. And Ebeshola is national secretary, he cannot contest. So these people are party officials. That's different from candidates. Now the candidates will be picked by the party members. The party members will be invited to congresses, to primaries, and the various people who put their hats on the ring, then they will vote and they will select. So it is valid for people to campaign in advance for their preferred candidate. Party members will listen, and party members will therefore vote in accordance with what they get from their communities. And if you cannot be a direct member, at least partake in stakeholder meetings so that you can put forth your ideas. And our hope is that people who want to contest will not be afraid to come out. They will come out, make themselves available, and so that the delegates can see them and say, okay, it's good to have, for example, governorship of Lagos State, because a lot of people are focusing on the presidency. I am the state chairman. My job is to produce the next governor of Lagos, not the president of Nigeria. My job is to produce Senate. So I am more interested right now in who are we going to make the governor of Lagos State? Because if we are living in Lagos, we should be concerned about the government of Lagos. If you are not concerned about the government of Lagos, you are not going to get governors from Abuja to help your situation in Lagos. The roads of Lagos, the gutters, the schools, the healthcare, they are under Lagos State government. So if ADC is not providing opportunity for you in Lagos, you are going to continue in the expenses you are already getting. That's why I still tell everyone, not wanting to get involved, not every evil that comes our way that we are all complaining about. So the critical thing for us, every election, Lagos, 9 million voters, 1 million will step out. What happened to the remaining 8 million? 2 million will step out of 9 million. What happened to the remaining 7? They say it's not their business. Then they come and complain afterwards of bad governance, because the government knows that you did not put them in office. They can treat you anyhow. But if you come up and your vote counts and they can see that you're coming out, number one, the larger the number of voters, the more difficult it is to rig. When you have 3,000 people lining up in a polling unit, another 3,000 there, another 3,000 there, it's difficult to rig because there are too many people. But when you have just 50, 40, 30, it's easier to rig that. So we need people to start to get out and to vote. And it is that vote that politicians are afraid of. When politicians know that people are going to vote, they begin to deliver the goods to the people because they know that they are going to vote them out the next time. But if you don't vote, they will simply also you have no right to speak. And they will do it with impunity every 4 years. It's the change that we are looking for. It is so critical, so now was extreme. It is in the party where the people did not come out to vote that they lost. And when they lost, they complained afterwards. But when they looked at the statistics, they discovered that, but you did not come out to vote. How did you expect your candidate to win if you did not vote for them?
Vote. What number would they count?
When did you vote for them? So the only way we can get the government that we want in this country is if we make political gladiators afraid of the electorate. Once we are afraid of your vote, they will deliver for you. We are in this place, we are telling you. But if they know that you will not come out, supporters come out, somebody else is contested against me, his supporters come out. Okay, let us now see who has more supporters. But how about the ordinary person drinking beer while this was still watching television, watching football on television where people are voting, and they have the right to complain? No. If we want this change we are looking for, if we want the right kind of leaders, if we are tired of the leaders we are complaining about, we need to send a message to these same people by standing up to vote. That is the answer to all the questions that you have been asking, that people have been asking. Put this person there. We don't put people. It is the voters. But if you don't vote, then they will be imposed. But once you come out, it will be difficult to impose because they will see the masses, they will see the crowd, they will say, like the gentleman said, what we want is a coalition of the people. But the people are sitting at home. If you're sitting at home, then how are you going to get the change?
Honorable George Ashuri, let me read some of the messages that we also have here. Advice for Obi is that he should fight the fight of his life to get the ADC ticket. If he succeeds, he will become the president. If he runs as Atiku's vice, he will lose his support base and he will lose with the ADC. People believe Obi can make a difference as president and still lose. Okay, Ezelo Nedum says, it's a very bad thing that you need a nice expert to save the company. And Tinubu applied, Atiku applied, and OP applied. Who can you employ out of them to rescue your company? I remain Ezelo Nedum. Thank you very much. Umar Ismail from Ijayo is talking to us, and he says, help me ask Mr. George, where can I register as a member of the ADC in Ojokoro Local Council Development Area? Where can I get the ADC office, please? Any phone number to call? Umar Ismail from Ijayo Lagos. Okay, upon on the basis that he embellished some data given to support his point. For instance, he said the ADC recently and are ready to dump the party. To me, these are sweeping statements. Where is the research report to support those claims? For Christ's sake, it is done. He has only come to the public space to promote his new party, the ADC. That is Taiwo Oshunsoya. Okay. Honorable Ashiru, how will the ADC party protect itself from corrupt practices that have affected other parties? And what measures will you take to ensure that your government is free from the bedbugs of corruption? That is Ola from GRA. Okay. This is Adeni Babatunde, and he says the coalition is centered on one man's ambition and just one man who will do anything to be the president. Mark it. He should not. He is going to emerge as the presidential candidate. Well, good enough. Adeni Babatunde, you didn't mention the man. Thank you very much. James from Agbado Junction says it's a fact that most of the Nigerian politicians do not have any ideology. It is anywhere belle-faced. If Nigerians can have individuals like Peter Obi and Osibajo, whose track record is there for all to see, then we can think of a new Nigeria. Aside all of this, I will still be. Someone says, good evening, God bless your guest. He has spoken well. I watched him speak on TV some times ago, and he sure knows how to sell his party. I hope Nigerian people will choose well ahead of the 2027 election. God bless Nigeria. God bless. People need to embrace the coalition. And for me, And for me, I am for anything but APC. I hope the coalition will not fall after the primaries. Whoever wins the primaries, every other aspirant should support the person and give Nigerians a credible alternative ahead of the 2027 election. That is only when the coalition can be credible. That is Ayola from Ijayi. So much.
Good evening.
Is that Mr. Shola?
Yes.
Okay. You're welcome. Hello, can you hear me? Okay. I think we're struggling with the network. We'll try and see if we can run it. 30 minutes. You've heard some of the things that Nigerians have said. And I like the fact that you said your primary responsibility is to make sure that your party produces the next governor in Lagos. That will be 2027. But beyond all of that, one of the biggest issues that everyone had raised and had also been at the front burner is show today.
Thank you very much. First, let me respond to the gentleman that said I shared data that was incorrect. And I think I am in a position to determine the data of my own party. It is not public data. How many cards are printed? If you go to office in Abuja, you will find almost 10 million new cards that have been printed. That is an indication of the level of request by states. Some states are paying as much as they are ordering as much as 10,000 new cards every 2 weeks to go to their state. So who is better to have the data but those of us in the party? And so what I'm sharing is based on what is in the party's records, either both in Lagos and the national. So that is to settle the issue of data. And I think generally speaking, if you look at Americans, they are extremely proud of their country. The Republicans are proud of the Republican Party. The Democrats are proud of the Democrats. They carry that patriotism to the elections. They carry that patriotism everywhere. You hear chants of USA, USA, USA. I think we have a general challenge that we tend to either demonize the system, demonize the process, demonize the people, go and challenge the system and participate. Then we can come back and review and see whether we did the right thing or not.
Thank you.
That is where I will leave my comments for tonight. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Honorable George Ashiru. I had good time on the show today, and thank you for the numbers. And
thank you. Thank you. My pleasure.
Thank you very much. Well, that was the Lagos State Chairman of the ADC joining us on the show today. And it's been, back to back. Yesterday, Professor Patutomi was here. Today, we have Honorable George Ashiru. Tomorrow, from 1 to 3 p.m., on Midweek Politics, we've got some specials for you. And on Thursday, Mr. Bolaji stop his Mainland FM Global News. And by 6 o'clock, I would also come back to take you through the world of sport on Sports Cruise. Nigeria's home-based Eagles will be filing out against their Senegalese counterparts tonight in their first game at the ongoing Chan Nations Cup. We'll give you all of those details and more by 6 p.m. Stick around. My name, and we are the sound of Lagos.